Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. So we are almost through the week as it is. A couple things we're going to talk about today is I don't know what you want to call it. I don't think it's a feud or anything like that on X between Rex Finance and Anthony Powers there. And then Matt Schultz also chimed in into it as well. If you guys have been following it, it's all on X. Kind of interesting. It's kind of blown up and a lot of people are chiming in on everything. I'll talk about that just a little bit. What else do we have here? We got Bitdeer providing their production updates for February. We also have the short data for the miners as well, the latest one that we have, which is at the end of February. So we'll look at that. We got some good news as well. We'll look at those things. Bitcoin was, I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember if it was down for the day, but I think it's up on the new day. Miners did pretty good except for a couple there. So we got all that to cover as always. But we got to get through this part first, right? Not financial advice, entertainment only. Do your own research as always. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened here with Bitcoin here right now. Bitcoin was kind of up and down today. It finished in the red here, but we are up on the new day a little bit. So miners did okay for today, right? Some were up, some were down. It wasn't that bad overall. MicroStrategy was up in the green as well, but Bitcoin finished out the day here at 83,155 roughly. So we were down just a little bit here, down 0.29%. We are up a little bit on the new day. So I'm looking at the CME future. Sorry. There we go. Bitcoin was actually up in the green. That would help if I was looking at the right charts. Okay, so Bitcoin was up. It finished out at 83,659. It's up a little bit on the new day, right? We're still battling with that 200 simple day moving average. We are above it just a little bit right now, which is a good sign maybe, as long as it stays above it and continues to go up, right? We'll have to wait and see. Let's see if Trump mentions anything on tariffs anymore. That might cause things to come down. So there's always that possibility as well. But at least we're battling with that 200 simple day moving average, which is nice. Okay, so Bitcoin's up a little bit here. Miners, like I said, did pretty good today for the most part. A couple of them were down. MicroStrategy was down up a little bit, 0.75. Bitfarms was up 0.88. Bitdeer was up 1.32. Cypher was up 0.063. Cleanspark was down 1.94. Cleanspark, as you guys know, is getting accepted to the S&P 600, and along with the Russell 2K there. There should be more shares being bought up by those two parts alone to rebalance them. So there should be some more buying. We'll talk about the shorts as well, and that maybe the shorts at that time will start covering. We'll see. CORZ was up 3.71%. Hive was flat on the day. Hut 8 was up 2.27. IREN was actually down 0.14. Mara was down 1.58. Riot was up 1.68%. Wolf was up 2% here on the day. Smaller miners were down. It was kind of mixed on those guys. Some were up, some were down. Mawson was down 5%. ETFs were in the green a little bit here today at least. So it wasn't all bad for us. Not bad at all. Okay. So there's Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners here. Why don't we get into just the February numbers here for Bitcoin right now? It was, well, right now it's down 0.64% on the month. Not too bad. But let's get into the shenanigans that are happening on X a little bit. So Rex Finance posted something about the performance of Cleanspark stock over a certain period of time, and Anthony chimed in at that point that you should really look at, you know, short-term, mid-term, and long-term viewpoints and where it goes or how it has performed, and against other miners as well. And that kind of set off a storm, I guess, in the community on X. So a lot of people chimed in, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but I've been reading through all the posts, so I'm getting a little, not confused. I wouldn't say confused. I'm just getting too much information on that, and I'm not remembering exactly what the cause was. But Matt Schultz from Cleanspark chimed in to Anthony, something about him being bearish now, and it's maybe perhaps that they didn't pay him to for his site and everything else that he does, the interviews, all that stuff. You know, there's a couple companies that don't pay Anthony and Bryce for power mining analysis. And he said that was maybe the reason why he's being bearish on it. And then Anthony chimed in, maybe Matt, you should say less or something like that. So it got everybody up in a storm basically, and everybody was kind of going, you know, after Cleanspark and supporting Cleanspark and going into other sides of the thing as well. I thought it was a little funny. You know, we're all in this community. We should be all supporting each other. You know, but yes, we should be forthcoming on the numbers. Where are we getting numbers comparing to the miners as well? And we know that Rex is a mega bull on Cleanspark there. So it is what it is. it's good entertainment, at least at the very least, I guess you could say. But it's just good to have opposing viewpoints from everybody here chiming in here. So I like seeing that, but I just wish, we can have opposing viewpoints, but still be cordial and be kind is what I'm trying to say. At the same time, we can definitely agree to disagree, I guess, on some things, right? Okay, so there's that. That's happening there. I'm not going to go through all the different tweets or posts, whatever you want to call them now on X. You guys are more than welcome to do that. If you follow Anthony, you probably will be able to see that. If you follow Rex, you'll be able to see that. I didn't repost any of this stuff. I'm like, we'll just let it play out. Okay, so that's that part of it. We do have some good news here. The CPI numbers came in actually pretty good here for February. So inflation rate eased to 2.8 in February, lower than expected, right? So this was good. The consumer price index for both all items and core increased 0.2 in February, slightly below expectations. And then on an annual basis, headline inflation was 2.8, while core was at 3.1. Both also were 0.1% point below the Wall Street consensus and the previous month's out levels. So that was good there. And that might be a good catalyst. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. The FOMC meeting is next week. We'll see what Papa Powell does at that point, whether or not he's going to lower interest rates at that time, or they're just going to probably hold off. I think they're probably going to hold off to see where numbers come in for March, April, and things like that, and then maybe we might get something in May, depending where things go with the tariffs and everything else that President Trump there is doing on that. So we'll definitely get a better picture, I think, next week when he does speak. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say on everything that's going on here, if he even talks about it. I'm sure he's going to talk about a little bit on the tariffs and what impact that could possibly have, but we'll see. Okay, so CPI is looking good. That was good. I was thinking we're going to get a little better bounce today on Bitcoin and the miners because of it. We didn't. I think there's just still a lot of fear on the tariff side of things here. But also we have a huge announcement for multiple reasons here. Abu Dhabi's MGX backs Binance with a $2 billion investment. Single largest investment into a crypto company and the largest investment ever paid in crypto stable coins. Adoption, right? This is adoption. We need adoption. And this is just another part of this. And it's great to see. It's definitely a huge investment there in Binance, right? So Binance, as you guys know, is probably like I'm thinking the largest crypto exchange. It's got, it's all over the country, or all over the world mainly. But it has played a little foul here in the past. It's corrected those things. So I think it's in a much better position right now as it is. Okay, so that's good news there. We got investments happening into the crypto space here. We also have this just in. Senator Cynthia Lummis' Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill is now on the Congress government's website. So you guys can definitely take a look at it there. And it starts out, if we go into it here, a bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and other programs to ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government, to offset costs utilizing certain resources of the Federal Reserve System and for other purposes. One, be it enacted by the Senate and the House Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Short title, okay, you guys can read all that. Bitcoin Act of 2025. So this is good. Nice little step going forward with everything here. Okay. And the next one here is also from Wolf of All Streets here. He says, new Cantor Fitzgerald partners with Anchorage Digital and Copper for new BTC financing business. Institutional investors can use BTC as a form of collateral for loans. So they're getting into it as well. Again, adoption. We're seeing more and more adoption of Bitcoin and being able to use it for loans, collateral, things like that. We have seen the miners do that in the past, especially last cycle, but they got kind of hurt because of it, because of Bitcoin going down in value. Some of these guys were thinking that Bitcoin's going to 100,000 like a lot of us did, and it actually ended up going only to 69,000 and then was going into a bear market. A lot of them got hurt, had to sell a large portion of their HODL that they had at that point to cover their debt obligations on it. And so that wasn't great for them at that point. If you're going to do it, you got to be smart about it. Don't take out more than you think you're going to lose on Bitcoin going down in value, I guess. Okay, so that's all good news there. And then let's get into Bitdeer here really quick. We'll go through them. They have a couple updates here as well for their operations for February here. We talked about this a little bit, I think, last week, or when they report this. Maybe it was Monday, I think. But their CL03 sample wafers achieved a power efficiency of 9.7 joules per terahash at the chip level during chip verification and prototype testing while running at low voltage, ultra power settings mode, right? So I talked about that. I'd like to see the data on it actually running on just standard power, right? Not power saving, ultra power savings mode. What is the joules per terahash efficiency at that point? What's the hash rate? What's the wattage? All that stuff. I'd love to see those numbers come out and be published. We don't have that numbers yet. And maybe we will get those in time here. A little update here on Seal A2 miners, or the Seal Miner A2. Production of approximately 35 exahash are expected to be completed in October 2025, of which 0.6 exahash have been produced and are ready for shipment. We expect approximately another 1 exahash to be manufactured in March of 2025, so this month now. Let's see what else here. Shipments on those are expected to be in March as well. Recently, certain customers, so this is kind of not good here. Certain customers have requested to delay their final payment for Seal Miner A2s due to lower Bitcoin price. Furthermore, they have also requested alternative purchase options for future generations of Seal Miner machines. So it looks like some of the, whoever's buying these, I don't know who, but they're a little skittish, I guess, at least right now, on where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the future, right? Maybe they're not as bullish on Bitcoin going up to still 150, 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be, but at the end of the year, because of everything that's going on, just politically, right, and the economy and everything else. So that's interesting take there. Also, as such, Bitdeer plans to redirect Seal Miner A2s previously allocated for external sale to self-mining to avoid idle inventory. So it seems like they're even, based on this, it even seems like some of the purchasers are delaying it, it seems like. Based on this at least. So that's not good. But maybe that gets turned around when Bitcoin price goes back up. However, the company is confident that all 7 exahash will be sold in the near future. So are they going to be looking for maybe newer customers? I don't know. While allowing customers to delay final payment, Bitdeer will retain customers' down payment on Seal Miner A2s. Okay, so that's fine. You're holding on to the down payments there until they actually pay you for it. And then you're going to send them out. That's fine. Here's their update here on the mining side of things. Here, self-mining went up to 9 exahash from 8.7. So they have been getting those things installed there. Hosting went down a little bit here to 11.5 from 13.2, about 1.7 exahash getting offline there. And they talked about that as well. That's a result of their customers getting rid of some of the older generation machines there as well. Okay, Bitcoin's mined self only was 110 here. Bitcoin held was 1,039 now. I believe that they actually bought some Bitcoin here, it looks like, based on this number, because if you had 110 Bitcoin mined, that only gets you to about 834. Well, they said they got 1,039. So I'm guessing they possibly purchased some or have added some stuff from this part of it, but they shouldn't get that much from the hosting side of things, especially if they are at 9 exahash or 11 exahash. I mean, they would be close, but they're not going to get the whole portion of it. They're going to get a percentage of it for the hosting side of things. So that still doesn't make sense. So it looks like they did buy some. I just don't know exactly how much they bought there. Anything else in here? Nope, that is it. The good thing is with them, they provide a bunch of numbers for capacity, status, timing on all other sites, which is fantastic. Love seeing that and where they are in the progress of all of those sites and upcoming conferences, all that stuff. So that's great information there. Definitely check that out and keep an eye on that as well. All right, let's take a look at Bitdeer here. Bitdeer has 165 million shares outstanding, market cap 1.7 billion. Performance hasn't been great. It hasn't been great for anybody here over the last 12 weeks, so I'm not going to really ding on that because that's everybody here. Excuse me. My voice is going away. Wow. Oh, wow, that hurt. It sounded like my voice was going to go away. I had to take a sip of water. Okay, let's see if we can continue on here. That actually brought tears to my eyes. Current hash rate, 9 exahash. Future hash rate about 11, but they're getting more machines with the... It starts again. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can cough this up. That's the problem of doing things live. You guys get to experience all the, well, the crappy part of it as well. All right, if this was recorded, I would have cut this out. It would have been trimmed. No big deal. But we're doing it live. So where are we at here? Talked about the hash rate there, right? So they still have plenty of growth here. A lot of the growth is going to be also in the second half of 2025 and into 2026, as I talked about before. And then their current HODL is at 1,039. That's valued at 86 million roughly. That's only 4.91% of their market cap. So they're definitely being valued more on their operations, their future growth, things like that. All right. BTC mining here for the month down to 110. That's a result of them not growing as fast as network hash rate is growing. Also, having older machines there. That's a result of that. Also, it seems like they mined for less days than they did in January, actually. So that's a big contributing factor to that as well. Revenues here have been coming down, 10.48. They did peak last year at 19.9 million in revenue, and that's been kind of a roller coaster ride here ever since then. Recently in December, they were at 14.2, and now 10.48. That's not good there. BTC HODL has been increasing, which is good, right? So it looks like they added another 205, maybe purchased 205 Bitcoin. Not sure, maybe a portion of that at least. Hash rate here, as you can see, hash rate has been slowly increasing. We need much bigger gains in hash rate increases for them to do better in Bitcoin mining revenue, plus Bitcoin coming down here recently as a result of that as well. BTC per exahash efficiency, 12.2, not very good, but still better than like HUT 8 right now. Bitcoin sold here, it looks like they bought 19.5 million roughly. Going down here to institutions, we did have a nice increase in institutions as well, 164 now from 144. Shares increased to 33.8 million, and then percentage went up to 24.82. We still have the 8 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets actually went down quite a bit for them here month over month. 31 for the high instead of the 39 here. Average went down a little bit to 22.72, and the low went down to 15 from 21 here. So definitely a sizable decrease on that, considering that we still have the same amount of analyst ratings on them. For the month of February, I had them operating for approximately 21 and a third day, roughly. It looks like based on the numbers I could come up with here to get us to the 10.481 million in revenue. So definitely a decline from where they were in January and even December here. It's been going downwards, which is not a good sign here. Didn't really provide whether it was weather related or something else on that one. All right, so based on that, I'm taking the 12 months of revenue here for February, plus I'm adding in about 8.3 million of revenue from hosting and things like that, which has been decreasing here. Currently, I have them between $15.16 and $22.74. Kind of a little bit on the lower end. Well, the low end looks pretty good, but definitely lower on the higher end where the analysts have them right now. But that could definitely change as the Bitcoin price goes up in value also. Based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, I have them between $12.64 and $18.96, right? So they're at $10.71. I do believe that they're undervalued with the past historical financial results, and going forward, even so, they're undervalued as it is right now. A big thing for them is get the machines as fast as you can, install as much as you can, obviously, as fast as you can as well. Get to scale, see if you can sell. Well, we'll have to wait and see what the sales and figures look like for them on these machines. Right, it's not a lot, 7 exahash being sold. That's not a lot compared to what Bitmain is selling out there. But obviously, these need to be tested. They need to be out there in the field, out in the open, see how they actually fare compared to Bitmain. Do they last a nice long time, or are they, will they only last several months to maybe a year or two at the most? So we don't have that data on them yet, but I would expect them to do pretty well, considering that part of the guys there were also part of Bitmain. So you would think they would have this stuff pretty sealed on that part. Okay. All right, so that's it on Bitdeer there. Let's get into the shorts on the miners here. We have a new short. I can't remember from last month, but I think last month we had Mora being the most shorted here, and now Cleanspark is the most shorted here. But here's what we got. So current number of shares shorted here. Marathon has the most, 80 million, followed by Cleanspark, 74.9 million, Riot, 72, Bitfarms, 68 million, Core with 42, almost 43, Cypher, 28, IREN, 21, Bitdeer, 16 million, HUT, only about 10 million, Hive, about 7 million as it is. Percent of average float shorted here. We can see Cleanspark is the most shorted, 27.52, Marathon, 24%, Riot, 22%, Bitfarms, 18, along with Bitdeer, CORZ 17, HUT is 11, along with Cypher, IREN, and then Hive is only 4.52% being shorted. Interesting to know with Cleanspark, right, they're getting listed on the S&P 600 there, along with the Russell 2000, I believe it is. So those two sectors are going to be buying up shares here. I don't know exactly how many shares they're going to be buying up, but they're going to be buying those up. Maybe that will be the time frame where some of the shorts start to cover a little bit, and that's happening here correct me on the date here, I think it's by the end of March 24th. I think that's when they get listed on those. So there's definitely going to be some buying on that. I don't know exactly how many shares are going to be bought. I'm guessing several tens of millions. I don't know exactly how many on it, so we'll see how that does, what that does for the stock at least. All right, there's a lot of shares being shorted there, and if you got to buy a bunch of shares, well, you're going to take some off and maybe the shares shorted will go down. We'll see on that one. Now, shares shorted value versus market cap here. So Marathon has about 4.5 billion market cap, right? Almost a billion shares being shorted for them. They're the most. Then we got Core with 2.7 billion. They have only 482 million shares shorted. Then we got Riot, 2.6 billion market cap with 591 million shares shorted. And then Cleanspark with 2.2 billion in value and 625 million shares. And you can see how everybody else stacks up on that one. And then number of shares shorted changed from last time. So this is, last time we checked on this was beginning of February when all the miners reported their operational updates for January. So we're looking back from that and doing a comparison on it. We can see here that Riot had the most shares being increased for them, shorted 5.4 million, followed by Cypher 3.96, Bitfarms 3.63, Marathon 1.84, Hive 1.5, Bitdeer 1.4, Core 0.95, Cleanspark 0.54, IREN 0.43, and HUT actually had a decrease in the shares number being shorted there. Percentage change in shares shorted from last review. Hive had quite a bit of increase here. 29%, followed by Cypher 16%, Bitdeer almost 10%, Riot 8%, Bitfarms 5%, Marathon 2%, Core 2%, IREN 2%, Cleanspark only 0.72, and HUT negative 7.7 on it. And then price change percentage from 12 weeks ago, well, you can see everybody here has not done that great. Best performer here has been actually in the last 12 weeks. What is it going to be? Marathon actually is down 19.7, and then Cleanspark's down 20.7, right? More of the two of the pure play miners. Even Riot here, 27, which historically was a pure play, just recently came out that they're going for HPCI as well. But some of these guys that were talking about going into HPCI, like, well, Core we know for sure, but like HUT 8, Bitdeer could probably, if we had TeraWulf in here, we could probably include TeraWulf in there as well. Those guys have been gotten massacred here recently with the DeepSeek news coming out, and then other stories about the HPCI business, how Microsoft's possibly, fake news on Microsoft, declining contracts with CoreWeave there, and other things. So that definitely brought things down for us. So that's how things stack up, and let's take a look at how everybody stacks up here, going all the way back to, I probably need to update this as well, don't I? I do. I forgot to update this one. That is down here. Let's bring it down one. Okay. So this is actually 214, latest data on that. And here's what we got. Bitdeer continuing an increase in the number of shares being shorted there. For them, you can see where they were basically in April of last year, only 1.74 million shares. And as time has gone on, we definitely see a lot more shares being shorted here in the space. 68 million now for Bitfarms, right? That's definitely a huge increase from where they've been. Cypher has been kind of up and down, a roller coaster ride a little bit, but it's still up. It's the highest it's been here recently. Then we got Cleanspark definitely going up and then down a little bit and back up. And then we got Core, same thing. You can see how that has played out over the last however many months. Hive kind of flat more or less, up and down a little bit, but not very huge changes in that one. HUT 8 has been up and down as well. And you got IREN here, a continuation of an uptrend on that, short interest there. Marathon, also roller coaster ride all over the place here, depending on what's coming out, I guess, on the news there. Riot, same thing, a little bit more of a roller coaster ride, but it has definitely been increasing. It's the highest it's been here, well, in the last however many months is this, 10 months, 11 months, whatever it is. So that's how things are stacking up right now in the short interest. So the shorts have been doing pretty good here with Bitcoin coming down. Miners have been coming down as well. They've been probably loving this. Eventually, I think they will, well, as long as Bitcoin goes up, I think they will, convert there a little bit, or maybe a large portion of it, but we'll see. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be shorting that, I think things are going to go the opposite way. So yeah, we'll see how things play out. But that is it. As always, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. $8 a month, you might be able to find a couple spots that are still $5 and $4 a month. If you do find those, definitely jump on those. Good savings there. And that's it. That's my sales pitch. All right, let's get into Q&A here, and we'll call it a day. Hopefully before my voice completely gives out. But that was weird. That actually hurt like my vocal cords. So let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say. If anything at all, as always, if you could preface a question with a question mark or a Q, I'd appreciate it. That way it makes it easier for me to see questions, but we'll talk about the comments and the questions as well. All right. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here so we can find some questions. Okay, mind you, why hasn't Bitfarms given a date for earnings yet? I think it's because, one, they operate in multiple jurisdictions. It's the end of the year for them as well. So it's going to be audited. It should be audited, right? Fiscal year end numbers should be audited. So I think that's the reason why, and then they're probably just waiting on all that to be coming in. Historically, we have seen the miners. I mean, you've seen some of the miners provide unaudited numbers, which I'm surprised by that because I thought that like the 10K figures would have to be audited. But maybe they can provide those interim, and maybe Bitfarms is not doing that, but maybe they have to do it in Canada. I don't know. So that's the only reason I can think of there. All right. Let's see. Fairfax 62, how you doing as well? Appreciate. Thank you so much for that. Kaz is also in. Hi, Kaz. Let's see. Kaz says, I feel like Bitfarms has some announcement. That's why they haven't announced earnings. I don't know. What would be the reason for the announcement and not provide the earnings? You can still provide the earnings. The earnings are for last quarter, right? Last year. That shouldn't affect whatever's going on here going forward. All right, Chris. Oh, Chris. Hello, Sebastian. Been a while since I've caught a live. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for coming in, as always. Let's see. Anyone falling for this dead cat bounce, Heinze? You think that this is just a dead cat bounce and we're going to fall back more? You still think that we might be going down like to 69,000, I think? I haven't been buying anything. I'm wiped out of cash as it is. I got to see what my taxes are going to be like. After that, then I can decide if I can buy more. But right now, I'm just kind of on the sidelines as it is. Let's see. Fairfax says, Cleanspark mining Bitcoin at 35,000. The stock is floundering. Well, 35,000 for electricity costs and maybe some other little costs added into it. But their cost is higher if you include SG&A, right? Some other things in there as well. But I do think it is undervalued. Let's see, JK says, bought a bunch of Cleanspark after market, ready to scalp the rise with BTC in the AM. Nice. Then we got an opposing view here. Cleanspark is a dead horse. Yeah, there's definitely differing opinions here. Hi, Seb. In your opinion, what should Cleanspark do at the moment to deal with the shorts, and why do you think they are not doing it? Thanks. Well, I have no idea why they're not doing anything, right? Matt has come out that they can't. I think somebody asked them if they could buy shares in the company, right? But there are some definitely laws against it if you have some events in the company happening that others don't know about, and you know about it, you can't do it, right? That'd be insider trading, so you can't do that. So maybe they do have something that they have in the plans we're working on, and they can't buy shares, right? I think buying the shares would be one thing that they could do, but if you got a lot of things that are happening in the background, like buying sites, M&As, whatever it might be, I think you're not allowed to do that. I think there's certain time frames where you can do that. I'm not an expert on SEC and things like that, so don't quote me on it, but I believe there's times you can do it. So that would be one thing I think they could do if they got nothing going on in the background, right? I think Mara bought somebody from Mara bought some shares there. Maybe they're in that window where they can do it. I think that would be one thing. I think also them getting on the S&P 600 and the Russell 2000 there. There's going to be some buying of shares. I don't know exactly how many shares are going to be being bought there. But that should help also pull some of the shares that are basically in the pipeline there. So that should help with the shorts. Okay. Let's see. I have Cleanspark stock, been bag holding for a very long time. I've been holding it on for a very long time as well. Okay. JK says, pretty strong resistance at 84,000. This is where BTC battle is tonight on BTC. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's roughly where we have the 200 simple day moving average, right? That always acts as support or resistance. We fell below it, so it is acting as resistance right now as well. All right. Question, is Mara the best bang for the buck right now? Well, let's take a look at Mara here. Where are they at on my sheet here as far as stacking up? Let me pull this up in here. All right, here it is. So here's Mara, right? My valuation right now on Mara, I think they should be somewhere between 23 and 35. They're at 13. Are they way undervalued? Yeah, I would say so. But so are all the other miners here. So it's just a matter of now, I mean, Mara has a boatload of BTC, right? That's valued at 3.8 billion, 46,374. I mean, it's 85% of their market cap right now. So are the investors not valuing the rest of their operations and revenue being generated there as well? Or very, very lowly being valued there? So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense right now on that one. We could look at Riot as well. Riot's at 59% of their HODL right now to their market cap. That's also kind of ridiculous to me as well. They have been doing a much better job here growing. I'm in between 16, 17, and 24 right there at 785. They're definitely undervalued as it is. Who else can we take a look at? IREN here. IREN's at $7. I think they should be somewhere around 24 to 36. All right, so they might be even more undervalued than Mara is based on what their potential is here and their growth. Yes, they don't have a HODL position there, so maybe that's why they're getting a little bit of a discount there, right? I'm just looking at some of the bigger guys here. Cleanspark as well, right? Their HODL right now is valued at about 41% of their market cap here. That's also kind of crazy to me right now, but seems like they're being valued more on their operation side of things. And they're at 810. I think they should be somewhere between 25 and 38. So a lot of these guys are way undervalued, right? Especially if you value Bitcoin at least at a slight premium. I'm not saying you have to value it at a 2x premium like you would value like MicroStrategy. But if you at least value them at like 1.2 or a 1.3, maybe even 1.5 at the max on the HODL position that they have there, they're definitely way undervalued from where they are right now. But they're also like Cleanspark, Mara, Riot are like one of the most top shorted stocks right now. So that's not helping things out either. But I think all of these guys, I mean, you could pretty much throw a dart on the wall with the names on these guys, and if as long as Bitcoin goes up, I think you could possibly find a winner that way. All right. See, Kevin says, if people don't spend so much money on options contracts and instead just bought straight shares, the stock would move appropriately as you shrink the float. Yeah, that's true. I will agree there. All right. Let's see, Cleanspark has a large percentage of float behind shorted. Yeah, what is it? What did I have that at? 60 some million or 70 million? What did I have that shorted? They had 74 million, almost 75 million. So definitely a lot of shares there. Okay, thank you. So you got that one. Martin, you're very welcome, as always. Minor Degen has a question. Do you think Anthony Powers paid by certain miners for favorable coverage? I don't know if it's for favorable coverage. I know that him and Bryce with Power Mining Analysis, they get paid to I don't know if it's promote or if it's just to cover the miners. I don't know how you would define that. But I don't know if it's for favorable. They do ask the tough questions there when they do have the CEOs on, which is good, right? So they're kind of keeping the feet to the fire of the CEOs, which is good. And they're giving them softball questions, because if they were giving them softball questions, and then you would see, okay, yeah, they're giving them favorable treatment there. But I don't know. I don't think that they give them favorable treatment for the ones that do pay them. It's just that the ones that don't, they don't have them on their streams and things like that. That's the only thing that I've really noticed as a result of that. But I think they still have the other miners in there as well that they're covering. So, yeah. Simon says Anthony's paid to provide honest and accurate coverage with a wink. Yeah, I mean, his data is right on, right? I see no improprietary there as far as that is concerned, because a lot of the data does match my data that I have also. So, yeah. Sadie, thank you so much. Yep, likes help the channel. Appreciate that as always. All right, Harrison, regarding the altercation between Anthony Power and Cleanspark Schultz earlier today, do you think a lot of these YouTubers were paid to pump miners to retailers? I don't know if anybody else was paid. All I know is, but we know for the fact, for the longest time, Anthony wasn't getting paid anything, right? It wasn't until last year, I think it was like early on last year, like the first quarter or something like that, I think is when they started, talking to the miners and getting them to sponsor, basically be sponsors of their show, more or less. That's the way I maybe look at it. So that's the only one I know. I don't get anything from this, from any of the miners. I did get do I still have it? For all full transparency, I got a Bitfarms koozie. When I attended the Bitcoin conference there in Nashville last, when was it, August, when we had that, or July, I think it was July or August, can't remember. So I got that from Bitfarms, right? So that's the only thing I got, you could say, is I got gifts from somebody. Do I have anything else? I got a name tag from Bit Digital. That's it. So that's to the extent of where I got anything from any of the miners, right? You guys here with YouTube viewers and Patreon members, you guys are the ones that are supporting me. So I look at the data, and that's the way I go by things. It's just the data, right? It's not who paid me more or whatever it is. It's just, here's the data, and I can tell you guys honestly if I appreciate something, if I don't, if I see maybe an issue, I'll let you guys know about it. I'm fair about it, right? I'll always be transparent with you guys. When I buy things, when I sell things, when I change things over because of one reason or another, I go by the data. So for me, it's that way at least. As far as anybody else is getting paid, I don't know who else would be getting paid by anybody else. I don't know if Rex is getting paid. I know he's always said that he is not getting paid. I'll take his word for it, right? Who else is out there that's Freedom by 40? We also had DR Lewis, right? The Bitcoin mining stock guy. I don't believe any of those guys got paid anything for that, as well as others out there that I'm aware of. I haven't heard it at least, so I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Do you have how much total cost for Mara to mine per Bitcoin in Q4? In Q4 for Mara, it was, let me see if I can pull it up. Mara, and this is just based on their cost of mine minus depreciation was about 52,000 here in Q4. And that's based on the amount of Bitcoin that they mined divided by the cost there, which if we look at that down here, I can tell you what cost I'm using to do that. So that is minus depreciation. Let me see here. Energy, hosting, revenue. That's it. That's all I'm using here, right? The cost of energy, cost of revenues for energy, hosting, and other. That is it. That's all I'm using there. That's the reason I'm getting it, the number there. So if you include like SG&A into it, other things like that, or that's for the fiscal year end, but for the quarter, same thing, right? If you include depreciation, share-based compensation, all that stuff, that definitely bumps it up higher. But I'm just looking at more or less cash-based costs for them. So it's getting better, but it needs to get even better with the comparison to revenue. It's definitely gotten better overall, but still would like to see that come down. In time, I think they will, especially when they got the wind farm, right? They can mine at a much lower cost at that point with older generation machines. That should help out. I just don't know exactly how much it's going to help out, but we'll find out in time. All right, go back here. Okay, talked about that one there. Mike says the resistance 84,000 is pretty stubborn. Yep. Pitt has a question here. Retail desperate to sell as soon as their average cost hits. Institutions loading truckloads. Are we missing something here? Well, might be. I mean, if the institutions are still buying like crazy, right? Why are they buying? Wouldn't they be selling as well? And that's where I think maybe the market is a little bit rigged. They're going to bring stuff down so they can buy more at a lower price and then, rise it up and make a quick buck on it. Okay, let's see here. Heinze says, thanks for watching the pod, Seb. Has your idea of Bitcoin changed? Can you share? My idea of Bitcoin changed after watching that? No, but I definitely did like, oh gosh, what's the gentleman's name there that you had interviewed? John, was it John? I can't remember now. I'm terrible with names, so forgive me. But he made a lot of sense, right? One example I remember here was in the interview. If you guys haven't seen it, Heinze has a podcast with I'm drawing a blank again. I'm terrible with names. But if you follow Heinze on X, you should be able to find the video for that, I think, in there. It's on YouTube and everything else. But they did an interview with a gentleman that's been, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Maybe it'll come back to me. But basically one example that he gave was looking at the housing pricing, right? If you bought house X number of years ago was 200,000, now it's 400,000, right? But if you also look at the cost of house compared to Bitcoin, at going back a couple of years, whatever it was, when the cost of was 200,000 for it, it cost you like 100 Bitcoin or something like that, right? Now it only costs you at 400,000, costs you 4 Bitcoin, right? So there's that deflationary portion of Bitcoin. If you have Bitcoin, you can do better over time, right? The cost on things will get lower for you as you hold Bitcoin, right? So I hope that can make sense. Which definitely is a different way of looking at it. Instead of looking at it at a dollar value wise, you look at a Bitcoin value wise. How many Bitcoins would that cost me now compared to when it was back then, right? Is it getting lower? And it is. It's actually getting lower. So it's definitely made me more bullish on Bitcoin long term, in the long run. And it's definitely something that I don't want to sell. I have Bitcoin that I've held on since 2017, 2018. I'm not selling anything in there. I may actually think about, just putting in 50, 200, maybe 50 to like $200 a week into it and just keep buying it. Whatever the price does, doesn't matter. I'm just going to continue to buy it. So that's something that I'm thinking about more so because of that video. So it's definitely a great interview you guys had there with him. So thank you for sharing that with me as well. And maybe, I don't know if you can share that link here on the stream, but if you can, definitely do that. Okay, Harrison has a question here. The market is pretty risk off and the miners are creating a lower low relative to BTC. These seem very tied to Russell. Maybe everyone should be shorting these miners and going long on Bitcoin. Yeah, I've heard that many, many times that the Russell, Bitcoin's following it, or at least the miners are following the Russell more so. So we'll have to wait and see. See, Vic says, should have also gotten a Burger King crown from Ben Gagnon. Ben wasn't there at that time. His son, I believe, his wife was giving, or his son was just born, I believe. So Ben wasn't there. They didn't get to meet Ben. All right. Let's see, can BitDigital and Hive at least double from here? If Bitcoin goes to 200,000, I think they can double, at least double from here, right? At that point. So that would be the very least I would think that they would do. Your Bitfarms and BitDigital analysis is now tainted, should not have accepted the free merge. Yeah, the Bitfarms. If you guys want this, I will give this away just to untaint my reputation there. I don't really use a koozie for anything. So if you guys want it, let me know. I'll send it out to you guys if anything. Okay, let's see here. Are you worried about HODL stocks ending Q1 on a lower BTC price? Seems like all of them will have a lower earnings compared to Q4. That is a concern, right? The Bitcoin, Bitcoin's at 83,000 right now. Price of Bitcoin was around, 94,000? So we're about 10,000 off from that. But could we have just a couple of days where Bitcoin rallies and we get up to, at least at the end, 95, 96,000, where they're still going to be making a little bit of a profit, but it's not going to be a big decline for them. It will be a hit, but it's not going to be that big. So we'll see where we end up this month. Heinzie, thank you. Jeff Booth, yeah. Okay, so John, I was saying John, but it's Jeff. Jeff Booth there, yeah. And the show is Finance Junkies. Yeah, definitely check it out. I loved it, so definitely take a look at it there. Good information from Jeff Booth on that one. And I got to look to see if you guys have any other videos as well. I'll definitely take a look at it when I have time. Okay, Michael says, I will never understand any of these miners and would think Mara will rally on a big up day, but still down. Yeah, it's just the uncertainty in the markets right now. It's definitely not good for risk-on assets, I think. And Bitcoin miners are that right now. I would like to know which is the best of all the miners, then maybe by your favors. By my favorites? My favorites right now are Cleanspark, IREN, I would say Mara, even Riot, Cypher in there as well, Bitfarms to a lower degree now than it was in the past. I was more bullish on Bitfarms in the past, but things have changed, so you got to change with it. Who else on there? Hive as well. I think Hive has got pretty good growth. I'd like to see their cost of mining come down though. What else? Who else is there in there? That's Core. Core is going to have a huge revenue late this year and into next year as well from CoreWeave. So those are the ones I would look into. There's quite a few that are doing really well. It's just a matter of which ones now get the attention of the investors going forward. A lot of the miners already have gotten the attention of institutions and things like that. It's just now investors. Where will investors go? Pitt says, I'm definitely not going to sell. Look at all the states working on SBR, companies buying. Yeah, Bitcoin, yeah. Let's see. Ryan says, the number of viewers on your live videos is a direct correlation with the market sentiment. Sentiment is down right now. Yeah, it is. I mean, we've got 102 concurrent viewers right now. Just still pretty good. I'd like to be above 100, so that's good. I'm not too sad about that. There have been times where we were at like 200 at most, but that's when like Bitcoin's pumping good. We get definitely a lot more people coming in at that point. Pitt, thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like, guys. Let's see. Ryan says, good time to buy MSTU. Heinze says, Ryan is the hypocrisy we face when things are tough, then people FOMO. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Question, it's not up. There we go. Seeing some TA suggesting 55 BTC, is this likely to you? I don't think so. If we get into 55 BTC, I think at that point we are in bear market territory for Bitcoin, and this is all over. We have reached our highs, and we are going lower at that point. If we get down to 55, I do think that possibly we could go down to like the 69,000, 72,000 range. We got some support. If we scroll out here at least a little bit, we got some support right around here at 72,000, and then we got a lot more support here at 60. I would say 67, maybe 69. Where's 69? 69 is right there. Some support there going back to over here. So those are the ones I would look at. 55, that's going all the way down here. That's kind of like the bottom of things. But if we go down to that part of it, we are definitely, I think, at that point in bear market territory. From 105 down to 55, you're looking at approximately, what is that? 49, almost 50% down. That would signal to me a bear market on it. Historically, Bitcoin, when it does corrects, it corrects about 28, 30, 35, 38%. That's normal for Bitcoin to do that. When we go below those numbers, that's when we start getting fearful, really, really fearful that we're going into a bear market. And that's kind of what I would see there. So as long as we hold like 69,000, I would say 67,000 at the very bottom there, I think we'll be okay. If we fall below that, then, well, it might be panic. Might be panic time at that point. But I still think that we're going to go higher here as things settle in the economy. Maybe things settle with the tariffs, things get worked out. But we'll see. Right? A lot of people are still calling for Bitcoin to do better, and historically Bitcoin has done better in like the third and fourth quarter of the following year of the halving event, which we're in right now. Right? So that's kind of where I see things on it. I could be wrong on it though. All right, go back here to Q&A. Let's see, talked about that. All right, question, how high does BTC dominance get? Well, that's a good question. I don't really know. I know that the alt season has not been great this time around for alts right now. But going down here to Bitcoin dominance, I mean, it's up to 62% now as well. So, I mean, it's probably been the highest it's been here for a while, except for when we're in a definitely raging bull run here. This was back in 2021. We were higher at that point. So it is going back up on it. But it could definitely get much higher from where it is, as it is right now, as Bitcoin takes, swallow up all the value going into it because of all the adoption. States, countries, businesses buying it. People are going to be using it to use as collateral on their loans. There's a lot of stuff happening here with adoption, which is good. All right, Harrison has a question. How would you advise someone new to invest in this space after the trauma you've experienced past few weeks, or would you tell them to run? I would say, invest a small portion of it. Don't do what I do, or some of you guys here as well, where you guys have FOMO'd into it. A lot of you guys put in a lot. I would say put in 5% into this, 5 to 10%, maybe something like that. You can do that, dollar cost average into it as well, because we could still come down a little bit more. And then, see where things go, right? But don't put everything into it. I look at it this way. I'm still relatively young, you could say. I figure if this doesn't work out for me, right, where I have pretty much everything that I have in crypto and the miners right now. If this doesn't work out for me, not a big deal. I can still recoup in the next basically 20 years before I retire. So as long as I don't lose money, I'm actually still in the green on everything, which is what the original goal was. And then, if I'm down 10% on what I've put into it, not a big deal. I can make that up probably in a couple months to a year, right? So that's the way I look at it on that one. D-Roy says, I bid 20 on the koozie. How much would you bid on it if I signed it? An actual signature. Probably bid less for it then, right? Because I've actually ruined it. Right. Let's see, Canada talking about dumping their U.S. bonds. Yeah, I saw that today as well. Let's see. Our D-Roy says Canada can't win. No, but they can possibly put up a good fight there, right? And then yeah, I don't like tariff wars, but they got to work things out there. We'll see what they do. Let's see. Question, what is your plan now, Seb? When are you holding these miners for? I'm down 20% on my portfolio. I still think miners will rally at least 3x from here and Bitcoin hit around. I still think that's the case. So I'm actually still in the green a little bit because of Cleanspark. It's still holding up pretty well. If it wasn't for that, my Bitfarms is down in the red, like 15%, whatever it is right now. IREN's down a little bit. My average is $8. It's at $7 now, roughly. So what am I down there, like 15, 20%, something like that on that one. And then Mara, I bought just recently here, so I'm down just a little bit as well on it. But Cleanspark's making up for it, so I'm still in the green. I think I'm still up like 10% more or less on my portfolio. So I'm going to continue to hold on to it, see where we actually do go. And then if we do start falling even more, if I lose 10, 20% of my, okay, it's going to hurt, right? And if we're heading to a bear market, but I still think that we might actually have a good rally here going forward. Just got to clear the stuff out with everything that's going on locally, geopolitically, financially, everything else. All right. The question, buying pressure from federal assets forfeitures won't be enough to drive the market. So how does this strategic reserve help outside of some symbolism to states and other countries? Well, they do have... Okay, so going back here a little bit on the strategic Bitcoin reserve, they do, the good thing is they're actually going to be selling the coins that they have now, right? So that's at least like a stopgap measure at the point. But they do also have the ability to look at ways to buy Bitcoin that doesn't affect taxpayers, right? So you can't increase taxes for whatever reason or do things like that. You can't increase the deficit. If there's ways that they can do that, where maybe they buy Bitcoin by selling some gold, or my idea was, if they introduce Trump's $5 million Visa Gold card, right, to get in the country, or $5 million Visa Gold card, what if you use a portion of that? Use 100,000 of that to buy Bitcoin, put it on the balance sheet, right? Something like that. There's ways you could do that right now without having the Senate and the House actually put in a bill that would then give them the mandate or the legal framework to do it otherwise. So there's ways they can do it. But yeah, it's just building blocks, right? Steps as well, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to continue to build on top of the adoption that we're seeing here. That's going to be a good thing for Bitcoin in the long run. I mean, you already got Russia talking about doing something. You got China possibly doing something as well. So it's the beginning innings of this. All right, talked about that. Benjamin says, we degens invested everything in 3 miners. I got 4 miners now. Kid Nash says Canada will win. Capital flight is happening. First since 1974. It's not about winning. I think it's about getting along. Making sure that, I honestly think, who do I hear? I heard somebody talk about this. Mr. Wonderful. I can't remember his name now. But Mr. Wonderful, you guys know him from Shark Tank. I think he's the one that said, there shouldn't be any tariffs between neighbors, right? So anything that we have here, no tariffs on Canada, tariff has no tariffs on our stuff. Let the free market work its way between our countries. I thought that'd be a great idea, right? I mean, Canada's definitely a great ally of ours. It has been for a long time. Why would we do this? I don't know. It's just trying to get concessions from Canada, I guess. Okay. Kid Nash says, Seb, I do feel BTC may see 73 or 68 before blow off top according to my data. We may hit 95 band reverse. Let's see. Okay. So you're kind of seeing the same thing maybe then. All right. Okay, question. There were like 60 billion in daily volume on Coinbase for BTC. It's hard for feds to do anything to move the market though. Well, if you take supply off, right? So the Fed's going to be trading it more or less. Well, they could possibly do that. They could possibly trade if they wanted to. But I think it's more just take the supply that's out there, put it on the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve, and not do anything. Kind of like they did with gold, right? They got gold at a much lower price, and they haven't really done anything with it then. So that would take off supply, right? So less supply is going to be simple supply and demand economics. It's going to have to increase the price on it. But yeah, so we'll see. All right, let's see what do we got here. Got a couple more things popping up here really quick. Bevney says, I don't think we go down anymore, maybe 80K, but I believe we go sideways for a bit and then blow off top 140, 150, and then it's bear market. All right, that still wouldn't be too bad. All right. And then Fazian, miners didn't put a new all-time high when BTC did last cycle due of dilution. Given this, why would miners make new cycle highs now? Bitcoin going up, right? The revenue is going to be much better. The network hash rate isn't growing as fast as we thought it was going to be, which is actually really good. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of good things happening here on that one. And then Neville, my question got skipped twice. Neville, did I skip your question? I do apologize. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Here it is. Why do some believe miners will rally in 1 to 2 weeks despite rate cuts not coming in on, in the upcoming? I don't think we're like talking about rallying hard. I think just the simple mindset of investors that the CPI is not as bad as they were hoping or not as bad as they thought it was going to be, right? That's kind of good things, just good catalysts, good news that might pump them up a little bit here. They've been beaten down quite a bit here. I don't believe that the Fed's going to lower interest rates next week. If they do, I'm going to be surprised. Like probably 99% of you guys are going to be. I'm not expecting any rates cuts until maybe later on towards the spring sometime. Maybe we might get a rate cut. We'll see what happens when the tariffs get, the impact of the tariffs goes in for like maybe this month into April as well. That will be more telling there. Okay, that one, let's see. Huddle miners seem to be holding to BTC price action. Cleanspark has a low price to book ratio of 1.1, meaning it's barely worth more than the assets that it owns. Do you think the most efficient miners will profit the most? Most efficient, depending on how you look at efficiency, right? So if you could be really, really efficient, but you could only have 1 exahash, right? So it's scale, efficiency, uptime, all those things play into it. Those might do very, very well because Bitcoin price goes up. They're going to be much more profitable, right? The profit margins are going to be increasing as well. They should, in theory at least, get a little bit of a premium there, but we'll see. All right. Question: do you have a chart of gold adoption chart versus BTC to see how they rack or how they track? Would be a nice add if it's going to act like a commodity. The only thing we can look at on gold, and I don't have gold. Let me see if I got gold here. I thought I did, but maybe I got rid of it. I don't really track gold anymore. I don't have it here. I could probably add it in here. But the only thing is look at gold and how it acted after it got the ETFs approved. It went up for a number of years after that, right? So that's kind of where it's got me thinking that maybe Bitcoin could have the same kind of effect where it has an extended cycle this time around because of the ETFs, all the adoption happening, all of that stuff. But we won't know until we're actually in it, past it, and through it to really see if this is in a different cycle than we had last time. It is already a different cycle in a way, just the way that Bitcoin's basically trading and everything else. It's just now, does it go longer or do we still get that blow off top and then a bear market afterwards? That's going to be the big question there for me. Let's see, question. I've been using Trueflation and it seems more reliable versus slow survey methods from Fed. Your thoughts? Trueflation, where are you getting that from? Just on the things that you're seeing that you're buying or things like that? Let me know how you're getting that. Neville says, thank you, you're very welcome. Let's see here. Do you consider Ethereum to be an altcoin? And also, do you feel altcoins will outperform BTC on the next rise? Percentage gains, possibly. I mean, Bitcoin, if it goes to 150,000, 200,000 right now, it's going to be, what, 100% increase? Yeah, the altcoins can definitely outperform as far as percentage gains. But dollar value-wise, maybe not, right? So, I mean, that's roughly 120,000 increase, right? So if you have 1 Bitcoin now, you could go 120,000. Yeah, I don't know. I think the altcoins will do fine. I think they haven't done great like they have done last cycles, I think. And it's just, there's too much scamming and grifting in this space with altcoins and meme coins and all this stuff. People are kind of getting smart to that, I think, nowadays as well. But yeah, I mean, Ethereum is, I would say, like the silver of what Bitcoin is like the gold, right? but even if Ethereum is having a challenger there with Solana, so maybe those three, maybe, not sure, right? There's just so much utility that you could have with Ethereum. There's many different use cases for it as well. House deeds, house or loans, things like that. There's just so many things you could do with it that I do think it has utility, whereas some of the other stuff maybe does not have the utility there. So that's the one thing that I look at is, does it have utility? Can it be used for other things? All right. Question, just Google Truflation CPI. They get data directly from industry databases. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Thank you for that. I'll definitely look into it. All right. I think we're going to call it a day here. We're going on an hour as it is. Okay. I thought it was going to be a shorter stream tonight. It didn't turn out that way. It's definitely an hour stream, so that's fine. I enjoy taking the questions. You guys make me think, which I love. But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll see where the miners go. We'll look at some other data on the miners as well, and see where things stack up at. And then after thinking about this, we're still waiting on Bitfarms to provide us with their fiscal year-end numbers. And yeah, it's already going on. I'll give them maybe a week or two more, to maybe a week, to see if they provide any updates on when they're going to actually release that, because that way I can do the metrics on the miners for the last quarter. Because this quarter is almost over with as it is, so it's going to be way delayed on that nonetheless. But yeah, so we'll look at that. We'll look at anything else we can look at on the miners, if there's any news or anything like that, any shenanigans happening on X in the community or not, we'll talk about that as well. So that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much as always. Love you all. Have a great night. And until then,